All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, we wanted to send you all our well wishes during this current pandemic of COVID-19. We know that the numbers are starting to surge back again, and this uncertainty is what fuels our anxiety. But let's remember we are still in the early stages of this battle, and let us continue to do our part about stopping the spread of this virus by continuing to practice a proper hygiene by washing our hands and wearing our mask and practicing social distancing techniques, is doing the things that we have to do in order to get through this. And as always, if we can serve as a distraction with everything that's going on, then that's what we will continue to do as we fight this unprecedented moment. I would agree, in everybody's lifetime. So we come to you on this broadcast on a very somber note, and it's something that we just happened to find out this evening, and the loss of famed boxing trainer Brother Naazim Richardson. And we're just, kind of just scrolling through the news, and we saw the links and the articles about his untimely passing after a lengthy illness. And we at Chin Check Radio want to extend our sympathies and our deepest condolences to the family of Naazim Richardson, as well to Bernard Hopkins, Shane Mosley, Steve Cunningham, Carl Dynamite Dargan, all the fighters that he's had a hand in training as well. And folks, if you don't know Brother Naazim, go back and look at some old Bernard Hopkins fights. Very loud guy, very vocal, but at the same time, he was very passionate when he spoke. He believed what he's saying. You can hear the authenticity when he spoke. He was a real brother. I mean, that's probably the only way to best describe that man is he was a real brother. He spoke the truth. You believe what he's saying. He wasn't about any foolishness. He was about business. He was about strategy, and he was about training his fighters to the best of his ability, and often got the best out of his fighters. And I first noticed Brother Naazim Richardson obviously as the co-trainer or the second in command to Bernard Hopkins under his other late trainer, the late great Bowie Fischer. And he definitely had a loud voice in the corner, even though Fischer was the calming voice. But if you go back and look at the Felix Trinidad fight and just listen in between rounds, you're going to hear a very loud voice screaming instructions to B-Hop, screaming the jab, the body shot, throw the quick right hand, don't load up on it. That was all Brother Naazim Richardson. And even in between rounds of that fight, where Fischer was telling Hopkins on a calm level what to do and to keep up with the strategy and the battle plan, the louder, the more boisterous one in the corner was Brother Naazim. So that's when I really first noticed who he was. Like, okay, he's a very passionate trainer. He's a very loud trainer. And he definitely has B-Hop's ear for him to be in B-Hop's corner. Now, after there was a split, then eventually Brother Naazim took over as Bernard Hopkins' lead trainer. And go look at 2006, his improbable victory over, at the time, the light heavyweight champion of the world, Antonio Tarver. And Brother Naazim Richardson was the lead trainer along with John David Jackson as a co-trainer, but he was the lead trainer for Bernard Hopkins. He definitely listened to the commentary in the corner where he knew that Bernard was going to win that fight. He knew, or he felt, that Tarver was really about all hype to the public. And if you look at if you listen to the commentary during the corner, you have Brother Naazim who said he might have bullshitted the public, but he didn't bullshit us. So he knew that Tarver was not a complete fighter, even though he was seen as, quote, the bigger fighter or the bigger man at a higher weight class. But Bernard had moved up in weight, and Bernard was the better overall fighter. And he knew that and spoke of it in the corner. So he definitely knew his fighters. If you go back and look at the countdown to the Kelly Pavlik fight. Again, Bernard's victory against Kelly Pavlik. He definitely was in the corner, and he said it during a countdown show when Bernard, I think John David Jackson, and all of them were watching film. And of course, at that time, Kelly Pavlik had a hard right hand, a big right hand, knocking guys out. And Bernard Action was like, "Wow, hey Naazim, Kelly Pavlik has a hard right hand. What are we gonna do about that right hand?" And Brother Naazim states, "Well, we're gonna put it in the same drawer where you put the Trinidad left hook at." And that's pretty much what happened. They neutralized any offense that Kelly Pavlik had, fighting a guy 17 years his junior, and took Kelly Pavlik to school. Now, keep in mind, Kelly Pavlik was the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, who had just beat Jermaine Taylor twice, the Jermaine Taylor who beat Bernard Hopkins to become the middleweight champion of the world. So it definitely was seen as a passing of the torch, a passing of the guard, and Bernard Hopkins whipped Kelly Pavlik, and Mr. Richardson was in the corner with Bernard Hopkins. So definitely a loud voice. And that's to us hardcore boxing fans. To more of your mainstream boxing fans, Brother Naazim was most well known for the fight before Shane Mosley and Antonio Margarito. Now, mind you, Antonio Margarito, big welterweight, had a huge victory over Miguel Cotto, had a huge fight versus Shane Mosley. While they're in the dressing room wrapping the hands, Brother Naazim Richardson realized, well, wait a minute, something's not right. Made him rap and to rewrap Margarito's hands, and you let him tell the story. The block fell out. He picked it up quickly, realized, okay, something's not right with the hand wraps. They let the fight go on, and Shane Mosley, if you maybe take away his first victory against Oscar De La Hoya back in 2000, the Antonio Margarito fight in 2009 was Shane Mosley's, I think, most dominating victory because he beat the holy hell out of Antonio Margarito. Now, this is the guy who was seen as the number one lightweight in the world, had victories over Miguel Cotto, knocked out Kermit Cintron. They say Mayweather ducked them, and Mosley beat the brakes off of him. That launched Mosley to his fight versus Floyd Mayweather 1 year later. So definitely, and again, Brother Naazim in his corner was telling Shane Mosley, stab him in the heart, just giving him just great advice in the corner. And really, he's the one that kind of exposed Antonio Margarito being the, quote, cheater. Well, I'm not going to use in quotes, being the cheater that he was, because let's face it, when people are caught doing something, it's not the first time that they've done it. So now there's always been questions about Margarito's previous victory, specifically in the Cotto fight, because he was getting thoroughly outboxed, but was battering Cotto around to eventually where he stopped him. So there was always a question where how clean his victories were. And that was all Brother Naazim Richardson doing a great job as a corner man, exposing it, and that pretty much, I'm not say put the lid on Margarito's career, but he definitely became the villain in boxing. His trainer, Javier Capiteo, I don't know if he was banned from the sport, but he faced some sanctions. So did Margarito, and that was all due to Brother Naazim Richardson. So definitely a very astute what was going on. He clearly protected his fighters. As I mentioned earlier, the Mosley victory got him the fight versus Mayweather, and even though Mosley, he didn't win that fight, but he had his moment in round 2. But again, go back and listen to the commentary from Brother Naazim when he's trying to tell Mosley what he needs to know. He was telling Mosley, hey, Shane, you're too excited. I need for you to settle down. Don't make me that guy. You have the experience already. Fight your fight. So he knew the type of fighter that he had. So definitely very impressed by him. Again, I love hearing the brother speak, with his sons, Rock Allen, his nephew, Carl Dynamite Duggan. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if he's still married, but was married to the famous singer, Lil Mo. And definitely Brother Naazim, he's definitely going to be well missed. It just seems that a lot of the good trainers, the old school trainers, they're now gone. They left us, and his memory will not be forgotten. So we at Chin Check Radio, again, we wanted to send our condolences to his family and wanted to say to Brother Naazim Richardson, Brother Naazim, we're going to miss you, and you will never be forgotten, and your spirit will always live in the great sport of boxing. This is Chin Check Radio. Until the next time.